I must tell you a backstory to this picture.
Yeah.
The Greying of Singapore. I took this picture in 1981. No, January, February 81, 93. I can't remember.
Yeah,
but I took this picture sometime back.
Man, right?
Yeah, it's old man. 1990 or thereabouts. Yeah. He was in Chinatown where he was sleeping and so on in the night, homeless. Right?
Yeah.
So I took a picture and talked about poverty in Singapore. And guess what? Talk about the aging in Singapore. Guess what? In 1995 or 96, newspaper had a photographer who went to take a picture in Chinatown. And he won Picture of the Year award, but it was in color. Exactly the same posture, the same positioning, and what, you know. So 10 years, 20 years down the line, homelessness is still with us. You know? Yeah. So it was very interesting that he won the Picture of the World award. Whereas this one, I got scolded for it. You know,
you got scolded for it?
For portraying Singapore as a as a very poor country.
You were aware of this issue.
Oh yeah, of course. That's why we wrote the article.
Right.
Yeah.
Would this come from research, or you already knew there was a problem beforehand?
Oh, it came from my time in social work. Because as a social worker, I had to go around. I had to do what I call community lab. I had to do placements, you know, with different agencies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to ask you a bit. In those, so this is like mid to late 70s, right? When you were in university, who were the lecturers who were more concerned about these sort of social issues?
I think they were concerned. Most of them were concerned in an academic way rather than activist way. So people like I really don't. There's a guy called not Chia Bing Hot, Chia Hock Bing.
Chia Hock Bing. In what, social work or sociology?
Social work, yeah. In social work, yeah. He wrote an AE or a paper on poverty in Singapore.
Right.
But he's passed on now, I think. He went on to Australia and so on. He related to Australia. I think the wife is still around, yeah. But anyway, so Chia Hock Bing. And the rest were all mainly social work lecturers, right? They were concerned because they had to teach this. So people like NB, Nyam, Vaitilingam, these are the lecturers. All of them were concerned, but they were concerned in, like I said, in a very like this subject we are teaching, this exists, you know, but none of them saw that I know of was governated to be an activist. Yeah.
Right. In sociology, there were Riaz Hassan. Do you remember Riaz Hassan?
Riaz Hassan. Yes, he was interested, but there was not as much printed output as there is now. Not as many people wrote about it. Yeah, but I think in their personal, but they had this in their personal analysis and looking at awareness. There was this concern. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a familiar problem. HDB price rises.
Yes. yes. Even back then. Now, of course, it's astronomical. You know. Yeah.
See the HDB one prices up again. So this was when you all began to realize, you know, that the HDB the housing was changing or expanding its role from just being shelter to being an asset that you all can profit from.
Yes.
This is a nice picture here.
This is a picture from my my first or second placement. I was working at old folks' home. And these are some of the participants. In those days, they need to get permission. No need to let them sign off. You just ask them, hey, I'm using a picture here. Go ahead and use. So they were living their singers. Some of them were the red hat, red hat, what do you
The
call
Samsui women.
some women. Some of them were Marxists. Yeah, they were living in this in this old age home on run by the AWA, Association of Women's AWWA. They're still around.
AWWA. Okay.
AWWA. Yeah, they run by AWA. And I was given a free hand. Again, as I said, in those days, you had a free hand in doing what you need to do, right? I remember, can you see the lady who is seated right in the center?
Yeah.
I took her on my motorbike. She sat pillion on my motorbike, and I brought her all the way to this factory to negotiate directly with the HR manager on the wages that these old folks should be paid. Okay.
Oh, they were doing some craft work, is it?
No, not craft. They were putting together chips.
In the nursing home.
In the nursing home. Not chips. Sorry, they're assembling things. It was. They didn't need a clean room. It didn't need a clean room. We just bought the parts there and they sat there, they assemble, and then you get paid a certain sum of money. So they started complaining to me about not enough. Yeah. So I said, okay, you have to tell them yourself. I said, I can't tell them on your behalf. So I said, I will try and arrange an appointment. So I arranged an appointment, put her on the back of my bike, and then we went to the factory, and she started talking. I remember the name is so long ago. Of the HR guy now, but the guy was shocked. You see this old lady, exactly like that, in some food and all that, appearing and asking to see him with me. So I introduced them. I said she has something to tell you, and she said, I can't remember his name, but 先生啊，唔夠㗎啦。
Yeah.
都夠我哋要咩，先係路我哋做咩？I tell you, she was a very good advocate. he raised
All right, good.
a couple of dollars per hour or something. Yeah, it was very funny.
That's amazing.
But it was fun. It was fun. Yeah. So we had that freedom, you see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
corridor, dark corridor.
All right. Like probably one room flat.
Yeah, one room flat. Yeah, this is how
you
they
wrote
live.
this. This is your article.
This is my article. Yeah. This is the one that got me into trouble. Yeah.
So what kind of trouble?
Yeah, they because of this one, and other things, but this article was a primary one. The Ministry of Culture wanted to close us down, refused to renew the permit. In those days, we need a permit for publication. I think today you still need. Yeah. So when I went to renew it, they asked to see us. So Richard and I went in to see him. And then he started criticizing this article and said I was writing half-truths. So I said, can you point out to me exactly where? So he pointed this part. Then I took out the Singapore Yearbook of Statistics. And I said, the figures all came from here. I said, so you are not happy with the interpretation, not with the facts. So he said, I'm not here to argue with you. I'm here to tell you to stop this.
Yeah.
When Richard and I heard that, he said, this is no point. So we walked out. Yeah, we walked out.
Did you all get renewed?
No, we had to fight for it.
Yeah.
So we went to the court of public opinion. We called our friends in the New Nation. We called our friends in Straits Times. Raihan, of course, had all her friends there. She was there in SPH. I got in touch with the Far East Economic Review. I got in touch with Asia Week, and they all wrote articles criticizing the what's called what was happening. So after I think about 6 months or so of this, I can't remember exactly. Yeah. They wrote to me and said, I give you warning.
You got a warning.
You have renew it, but you do not do this anymore, blah, blah, blah. Yeah,
Right.
don't do this anymore. So I said, I just need the thing. But interesting thing is this, after that ruckus, we thought we had won the battle, but we lost the war actually. Because after that, advertisers began to shy away. They didn't want to advertise in magazine anymore. And in those days, it was a magazine, it was advertising that kept the magazine going, right? Yeah. And even distributors, people don't want to distribute so much anymore. I remember MPH then refused to take anymore, And the first issue, we sold almost 10,000 copies. First issue, 1979, 1980. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, of course, in those years, Women's World, Her World was selling 70, 80,000 copies.
What was the price of
$1.
$1?
Yeah, $1.
And mostly, I guess, mostly the undergrads will read it, or did you all go further?
We sort of did both in from distribution points as well as we were standing in a shopping malls every weekend and sell. And so we had a group people going there. Yeah.
The Right to Retire. Felix Cha.
Felix Chia, yeah. Very prolific writer, Peranakan, but he's passed on now, I think. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So actually, you all managed to get other people to write, yeah?
Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah. It wasn't just meant to be us. Remember, community, belonging, awareness in others, our objective. We met it, Yeah, because people were moved enough to want to contribute. Yeah.
That's right. And there's quite a bit of stuff on music as well, right?
Yes. This was a contribution of Michael Chia. Michael ran Big O. If you remember the indie magazine Big O.
Yes.
He always had this interest, and I'll always be grateful to him for introducing me, him and Philip Chia, for introducing me to music. I was totally blind there. Yeah.
Yeah, so see, the first issue is December 79, right?
Yes, that's the one on poverty.
Correct, poverty.
Yeah.
Then there's identity, to govern a nation, suicide. You all had one on suicide. Yeah, these are quite close to your social work studies.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Then in 81, you had this Anson issue.
Yes, that's right.
Find it.
Yeah.
Here. Right. So this is politics, right?
This is politics.
What was behind this issue?
Well, put it this way, people say I don't want to get involved in politics. But I tell you this, you are always involved in politics, whether you want to or don't want to. The very act of your going out to vote is a political act, right? So I think we should not say, oh, you want to do politics, you go and join a political party or whatever it is. I mean, it's a stupid argument. But anyway, this was, I think this was JBJ when he was standing for election in the by-election. And I think the PAP had what's called some inclination that JB was very popular and they might even lose. And that's why Dr. came up to say that we make all these announcements a more difficult time for Anson, non-PAP memories, blah blah blah, and so on. So we felt that this was not right. In the spirit of democracy, in the spirit of fairness, we should highlight what this says, right? And also have other people respond. So
I don't know if y'all actually put did y'all write an article on because this is a news print, right?
We wrote an article on it, yes. Oh, okay. It's in the same but I don't think it's here. Let me see. Yes, we had 2 articles, I think.
2 articles.
Yeah, one was an interview with JB, and the other was a overview of it.
Let me see.
Yeah. Oh,
Go
it's not
down a
here.
bit. Letters, no,
No, it's not here.
not
Yeah,
not
it's.
the. Yeah, then not the.
But it was there, lah.
Right. Okay. Joseph Lampinger.
He even back then he wrote about he was interested in international politics. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was in what discipline? Was he in political science or philosophy?
Yeah,
political science.
I think political science. Yeah.
Okay. How was he like in as working with you on Breakthrough? How was he like?
Oh, he was a very interesting character, very energetic, very very committed. He really believed a lot in what he said.
I don't know him personally, but of course he and Kevin Tan edited that big book, right? Famous book.
Yes.
Lee's Lieutenants.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Here's the music one. Bruce Springsteen.
Yes. This is thanks to Michael.
Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
So this one is some event.
Yes.
You all were also involved in some events, right?
Yes, that's right. We organized a nationwide exhibition on world hunger, and this was at the library. In those days, we could still do things in the library without having to go through all kinds of things. Yeah. So we actually worked together with UNESCO, with the UN, I think. We wrote to them, got some information from them, and then we did our own, one of our writers, Singh, Singh, he was very much invested in this. So he sort of researched and wrote up the article, and we had an exhibition at the library, National Library, the old one. It was very, very well attended. And I tell you, it was such an interesting thing. Schools will send their students by the droves. We had a very good turnout, and we actually made people eat grass to demonstrate that when you are poor, you eat grass. So we actually had grass, and people were chewing on it on stage.
Correct, experiential, right?
Yeah, experiential. Yeah. So
letters. So you all had letters as well. These are what, the undergrads?
No, people from all over Singapore, because we had a letterbox, and then we invited people to write to us. So there were some people who wrote to us, many people, including somebody called Chris Ho.
On the music, right?
No, not on music. He wrote to say, "You guys, be careful, the website is get burned or something."
Really?
But he also sort of like bemoaned our idealism. He said that you are too ideal, the real world, things happen. But he himself was an idealist.
Correct, yeah. Did you all publish like that letter?
I think we did.
Okay.
I think we did, yeah.
All right, that's all I have. This is I think 1 year. Correct. It's just 9 months.
9
months.
2 issues. 2 issues.
So how long did Breakthrough publish?
I think we did it for 4 years, I think. 4 years or 5 years. Yeah.
Of course, when Kevin and I first met you, he remembered Breakthrough. Later on, I think he read it. Do you think Breakthrough was able to achieve its objectives despite some of the difficulties you all faced?
I think we did, because some, not all, and then in varying stages. Because some of the letters that came to us were quite encouraging, and many people still remembered us. I remember very interesting. Yeah, I must share this nugget.
Yeah.
one time I went to bid for a job. After all this, I started this business on advertising and on magazine layout and so on. On page setters. It's actually a design house. So I pitched for this job at the Singapore with the People's Association to do one of their, if I remember correctly, one of their newsletters. And so they, of course, we went through the normal things. First you have to bid, and then they have to evaluate, they have to interview you, blah, 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 blah. At the end, they decided to appoint it to us, right? So on the day that I was supposed to go and sign the agreement, when I appeared, their director appeared as well. And then we talked a bit, we signed, and then suddenly he said, "Are you the same Fong Hoe Fang who did Breakthrough?" And I was like, yes. Then he said, "Good, good, good. Can you sign this for me?" He dug out from his bag old copies of Breakthrough and asked me to like autograph them. I was shocked. I said, I said, what's all this about? He said, you know, this was my reading material in his secondary and PU days for GP, and he really enjoyed it. I said, wow. I said, okay. It's like he was with the PA.
Well, they have to do research too, right? If they have to do their job
that's
properly.
Right. Yeah, that's right. So it was really interesting. Yeah, that it affected people from different parts of Singapore. So to me, it's not about just the numbers. The numbers are important, of course. It's also the individuals. How you help you to look at society, or even help you to look at things and analyze them from different perspectives. Yeah.
Yeah. I was pretty excited to have found this, when I was going through the Singapore Malaysia collection. At the time, they still had that physical collection, right? So I stumbled upon this and took the scans immediately. One of
Okay.
the real gems in the collection. If anyone listening has copies of the original Breakthrough, please let us know.
I still have some here. I still have one
Do
set.
you have the full set?
Missing one or two articles. Yeah.
Okay.
I have that. Yeah, if you want, I can lend it to you.
Can. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So I always have this question, right? You graduated from social work. Why didn't you practice?
I think this is really a function of what I went through in Breakthrough. Because I realized that social work, as it is practiced in Singapore, has some limitations in terms of the ability to help the prevention in the area of prevention. There are some limitations, and it's probably a situation of our society, the way our society is governed, for good or for bad, but it's an outcome of that way that they've chosen to go. So, and I felt that if I went into social work, which actually I love, I would not be able to practice purely the things that I believe would make a difference. I would just be doing what do you call it? I would just be
Ameliorate,
ameliorate
the patching up.
Yeah, patching up. Yeah, I would just be patching up the situation rather than doing something to make a difference. And of course, I don't look down on that. Your patching up is very important as well, because people do need to be patched up sometimes. Yeah, but I felt that I could do a better role outside of it. So, so I decided that I would not go into it, because the tendency is that once you go into the profession, for me, if I get invested in too much, I'll either be sacked or people will not want to employ me, or I will not be able to do what really matters in the job. And I feel that we have only one life. We need to do what matters for society. Yeah.
So I guess in that time, the education in social work at the university level was becoming very kind of professional, right? As a professional worker, you have a certain skill set, and you work within the policy that's been set up, the many
Yes.
helping hands policy, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So what made you decide? Okay, so maybe it's because of the background in publishing, you went into page setters.
Well, actually, yeah, it was. I always been interested in publishing. Yeah,
Right.
because I feel that the written word, uh, will survive even after we move on, and it's at least it's a record of events, of things that happen, the thinking that went on. It adds to the overall knowledge. Yeah. So yeah, I decided that rather than to do direct work, uh, I would go into more documentary work that would help, that would add on to the records, and maybe someday in future somebody will look at it and understand and agree and
Right.
practice it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But you were full steam in your career, but you didn't stop with the social activism. There was the 1981, is it, that you set up with others, maybe the Crisis Center.
Yeah. This was part of the breakthrough.
Right.
Because after we did all those stuff in breakthrough, we did all the writing, then there were some letters that came in. What are you guys doing about it? So in my mind, I thought we are already doing something about it by writing about it. This is a collaborative effort. It can't just be us, right? Yeah. But I understood where that writer was coming from, and then internally within some of us, those who are writing, those people who are from the Pioneers Club, the ones who started, some of them said, let's do something. It's not just about writing the thing. Yeah. And so, and then at the point of time, Raihan had joined us. Raihan is my wife. Yeah. She had joined us, and she came up with this idea about a crisis center for runaway kids or battered wives, and we thought it was it was a good thing to do, and a lot of the members felt that yeah, we could do this. So we organized a very informal system, and we started the crisis center going. Yeah, and we engaged the help with because we needed premises and so on, right? Things were expensive, and we all were all volunteers. There was no full-time people in here, so we said let's try and find an alliance with someone, and so we found the Catholic Center, Geylang Catholic Center, which kindly agreed to let us use the space. You know, yeah. So it's really maximization of space. Yeah.
Did you all know the people at the Geylang Catholic Center?
No, had
No.
to go and
Okay.
had to like sort of like it was the first time the Geylang Catholic Center was then run by the late Father Arut. Yeah, so we had to go and meet him, talk to him, share with him our ideas, what we hope to do, so that whether he would agree to let us use his place as a temporary abode. Yeah.
So through the Geylang Catholic Center, Crisis Center was able to give a shelter, like, I guess, for the
Temporary
runaway
shelter.
kids and abused
Yeah,
women.
abuse women. Yeah,
Okay.
that's right.
Was there no such place that they could go to in those days?
I think you were probably the first such center, but I mean, I stand to be corrected, but we have never heard of anybody else. Maybe there were some people doing it on a very informal basis. Yeah, and I'm sure there were a lot of like, okay, you run away from home, you come and stay with me for a while, on a singular basis, but nothing organized. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So maybe I want to zoom out a little bit, and ask you a bit more about all these kind of social problems that were arising. What do you think was so? Just now you said you didn't want to do patching up, right? So now you're thinking about giving shelter, dealing with all these crises that happen every day. Where did all these social issues come from?
Because I did social work, right? And so social work, of course, focuses on quite a few problems in our society, social problems in society. And because of that, the issues arose. How they dealt with it is between me and them. I mean, I social work as a profession. I mean, I may disagree, but I have friends who agree this is what they want to do. So they sort of keep their scope within that area. For me, I felt that the scope had to go a little beyond, and so we went a bit beyond. But basically, it was from social work, the study of social work in the city.
I mean, did these issues arise because of Singapore's modernization, do you think? Or they were, why were there these issues in those days?
That's a good question. I would say that these issues exist in every society.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say, is the extent to which they exist. That's all. Yeah. They must exist in every society because they are competing needs in the society. And as long as we are not, I mean, everybody, there's that streak in all of us where we are very competitive. We want to get ahead. We want to be this. We want to be that. Right? There's always a streak. And as long as there's that, and we do not manage it properly, then we will get some ills in society. So it exists in every society, I think. But that doesn't mean we don't try and do something about it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So like for example, right, I know a bit about the the problem of the aged, right, the nursing home problem. Why did we have that big problem, and why did we need nursing homes so much? It's partly due to the disintegration of the extended family, isn't
Extended
it?
family.
Which
Yes, that's
is
right.
very much linked to the expansion of capitalism, right? In a way, in Singapore, as we brought in the industries, the hotels, and all that. So there is a particular moment in time, right, where all these things were happening. It is universal, but it's also particular. Do you think Singapore could have done more, right? The government was not inactive. Government has always been an action party, right? Government, therefore, responded to that by opening up a lot of nursing homes. But were there better alternatives to nursing homes?
I guess this is something that needs a bit more. If you ask me offhand, but I would say yes. But that's me as an individual. But as a society, looking at this thing, I think they did what they could. It's only a matter of whether you do enough or not enough, and that is a matter of individual. So, example, I think the number of hospital beds in Singapore was stagnant for a very, very, very long time. So much so that when COVID hit us, suddenly everybody realized that there are not enough beds. So it needed something like that to wake us up. I think we as an educated society, after so many years of, we pride ourselves on being able to plan, to see ahead, and so on. As a society like this, I think we need to be more proactive in going out to look for solutions rather than wait for something to happen. Then we start building, right? So.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I guess what I want to ask is, so your had a crisis center. You all work with the Geylang Center. You all worked as volunteers in a voluntary basis while having your very busy lives at work and family. Was there like a bigger idea of how to expand and build upon the crisis center so that you can go beyond the emergency putting out fires?
I think we would have reached that stage at some time or after. We would have reached that stage. We limited the crisis center and the crisis center to a certain amount of work because every one of us were volunteers. We couldn't afford to spend that kind of time. And then if you have to go and raise funds to employ full-timers and so on, that would be another totally different kind of thing altogether. So we thought we would limit ourselves to that. Yeah. But
I understand.
You are right. Yeah, there are more. Yeah, there's a lot more that can be done.
Yeah. So tell us, by this time it was like the mid-80s, right? What was this voluntary field like? Was there a lot of excitement in the field? Was there a lot of passion going into the field?
Yeah, I could sense it. There was a lot of things coming up, and people were just running over, trying to doing things on their own and so on. And it was a very exciting time actually for me. And I thought, oh wow, okay, we are moving. Then, of course, 1987 happened. 1987, of course, I'm not sure if any of the viewers remember, but 1987 was a time when the government felt that there were a group of people whom we knew and we were involved with who were Marxist. They were first communists and then became Marxist. I mean, according to the government. And so quite a bit of them were arrested and without trial, and that was a very traumatic experience for us because all the time we had always believed that the government would be reasonable, they would listen to reason, and as long as we do not advocate violence or whatever it is, then there's no idea whatsoever about overthrowing them because to run a government is a totally different thing altogether. You need to know your own strengths and weaknesses, right? So we felt that it was an exciting time for us. Until that happened. And when after that happened, I think everybody went quiet and said, forget it, at least the people were involved. And say forget about it. And we had to wait for quite a while. I think almost 20, 30 years before things started up again.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I knew about you when I worked with you is, you've always had friends in the government, in the civil service, right? And you've always tried to talk, reason, right? You don't see the government as the adversary, right? So all this time in the 80s, 70s, you always were trying to work, if possible, with people in the civil service, with government officials. How was that experience?
In the beginning, early days, it was very interesting. People were very happy to work with us. In fact, I'm not sure whether I mentioned this. There was a time when we did when even the HDB requested for us to go and give a talk to the people about, if I remember what's the time, about homelessness, I think. About homelessness, yeah. They wanted our input. So we went, we gave talks, we gave a workshop, things like that. So people were more open to having this kind of stuff until 87 came. Until 1987, when the so-called Marxist Bloc was, then everything was seen as, this is the Marxist idea of how to win us. I think that's the saddest thing of all.
Yeah, I think you're right there, right? That the 87 arrests not only affected the independent, the civil society sector, but also people in the government itself, because they will be a lot more cautious about who
Yes,
they work with.
yes, that's right. So that really changed the situation. So today, people ask me, "Oh, are they more open?" I say no. I say, "Are things better today?" I would say no, because now you're first. There's so much more to lose, the civil servants, right? By going against the grain. Secondly, you keep to the storyline, you keep to whatever your bosses tell you, everything is fine. You will get your retirement benefits, blah, 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 everything is fine. But then that stymies them, you see, from exercising their, their heart for society. You know, I remember my mother tried to bring my grandmother. She tried to bring my grandmother to Singapore. She wrote immigration. And then they talk and talk, and we cannot here, cannot there. Finally, my mother just told a very sad story, and the tear dropped from her. She cried away and said, "Okay, okay, I think I will find a way of it. I will do it this way, okay? But you must do this. And then that was it. My grandmother came to Singapore. So, I mean, these are the little human things that make society human, right? Of course, we know there are people who will take advantage of the system, this and that. But hey, this is what we are here for. This is what we are here to do, to check this out and to block. We are not a robot. Because if the civil service, to me, has become a bit of a robot. Down here it stops. And that comes not from choice, but because it seems to be the most efficient way of working, because there's so many people. Right? So, I mean, it's sad, but yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that the human factor, building the trust, right, between the two sides, can still be a way today? Maybe you have got to work doubly hard, right, to do it. But can it still work?
I think it can still work if the individual. There will always be rascals, okay? That one, yeah. But there will be individuals who need persuasion. And how do you persuade them? Sometimes it's by what they see, by their experience in the society they're living in. If we live in a society which is kinder, then tendency is that whatever the governing body or whatever the organizations want to do, people tend to do it from that lens, that this is meant for our good. This is meant for us to do, right? And not because, it's, yeah. I mean, the simplest example is this, right? In Singapore, we are trained not to litter. So we don't throw things, right? Yeah, but because there's a law, so we put them. When you go to Malaysia, I remember the first time I went, I saw this guy I said, oh, yeah, Malaysia, they don't care. So, I mean, yeah, so it is our society, we have to be a bit more in-depth about how we want to do things. Yeah.
Right. When you were in the private sector, when you were at page setters, how do you maintain and how do you keep that idealism alive?
I'm not making so much money. Seriously, yeah. Seriously, you make enough to keep yourself afloat and can afford a holiday once in a while with bonuses, But between making $10 million and losing your soul and making 2 million, I will always choose making 2 million. Sorry, I don't make that much. Maybe I should say 20,000. Between making 100,000 to 200,000.
No, you already let it sleep already.
Yeah.
But,
So
okay.
I think, yeah.
That's interesting. Because I know that there are people, who had difficult experiences, and then they go into the private sector, like, some of the political detainees from the earlier period, 50s and the 60s, or the Nanta graduates, and then they go into private sector and they become millionaires, right? So it seems that they go full steam into it, but that was not for you, lah.
Yeah, that's not for me, because really I mean, look, when my parents and I, when they sort of, when we were growing up under them, they never made us feel that we were poor.
Right.
Okay, we had enough. We always had enough. When we wanted something, you would think a while, okay, and then after a while, we learned to tune our needs according to what we required, to what was important, right? And so because of that, money has not been has not been the main flag bearer of our lives, And I think this is still true for some people in Singapore today. Yeah, and this is how you should believe. Money is just a tool to be used, right? So you either want a better tool, or you want you want more tools, or you want less tools. But you still you need a tool, okay? But the thing is this: what is important? Is it the process, or is it the end goal? Do you want to be a millionaire by the age of 30? Or do you want to have a good life, or reasonable life, and by the age of 70, which I am now, and be happy with what you have done in your life and still be okay? I mean, you ask me to fly to Alaska, I can still do it, but I won't do so, because that's not important anymore. I mean, I find meaning in other things, right? So I will just maybe take a trip across the causeway. Yeah.
Right, meaning in other things. So when was it that the page setters published the first non-commercial or non-profit book?
When? I think back in 1920, no, not 19, what's it, 90s.
1990s.
1990s, yeah. I did a book for somebody whom I knew, a writer, whom I met when I was in SETS. I used to work in SETS. I worked in SETS for 10 years, made some friends there. And these were friends who were like-minded. I wouldn't say that they are like me, but they are like-minded, and they see other things as being more important. And this gentleman, he goes by the name of David Liu. He had some stories that he wanted to publish, and I look at it. It looked quite interesting, and you were talking about very pertinent issues. And so I said, this is something I have to do. And because at that time, my commercial company, so to speak, was already doing quite well. We had enough money. We could sponsor and support, the whatever we did on the other side. Yeah.
So this was a memoir.
No, it was a story about AIDS.
Oh, okay.
This guy wrote about the first AIDS victim in Singapore.
The SIA crew, is it?
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
And he was talking about the different way in which people who suffer from AIDS are handled. So he was questioning what is it, yeah.
The book is no longer in print, is it?
No longer in print. There's a book called Different. Sorry, I'm getting a bit right. Different Strokes. It's about this guy who,
I see.
yeah.
Okay.
How the government stroke you differently. If you are a well-known personality, and if you are just one of those guys down the line, if both of you have AIDS, how do you deal with them? Yeah. So he wrote about that. It's a life story.
Right. Nice. Any plans of Ho Fang to write your own memoirs?
Yeah, I mean, I have been planning to, but wow, it's almost 6 years since I got off regular work, and I still haven't got down to it yet. But I hope to. If not for anything else, at least something to leave for my kids. my children. Because until today, my daughter say, "Dad, you could be so much richer, you know, you could be so much better off financially." Said, "But you didn't. Why? You so silly, that kind of stuff." Yeah. But of course, she's a bit the same. Yeah, maybe it's trying to seek an answer so that she can rationalize it herself.
Correct, yeah. Do you think it's more difficult now to do what you did as a student?
I think it's much more difficult now
Mm.
because the requirements are to be a good student and get a good. It's so much different. In the past, I can don't study. I mean, I just sort of like revise my notes only by the last couple of weeks, and then you're okay. You're okay. Now cannot. There's just too much effort. Yeah. And also the demands of society so different. Uh, so it's a bit harder.
Mm.
But I hope that there will still be people who, and I think there will be people who still.
Yeah.
Because
go ahead.
yeah.
I mean, because it's a bit ironic, right? Because our education system is now better than ever. We now have we have teachers teaching GP a lot more seriously now. We have the internet. We have the IP program. We have IB. We have creative and critical thinking. We have source-based studies in history. So much more information now, and that students can get access to.
Yep.
Right? But that is not necessarily positive in terms of that kind of idealism, right?
Yeah, that's right. Becomes information overflow, and then so you will have to we have to really look, I think, a little bit at what needs to be done.
Yeah. When I did the research on the 70s and 80s, the student activism, it was also a pretty difficult time, right? The government, maybe there are some spaces, but there was also increasing less tolerance for independent views. I mean, every era, every period has its difficulties, I guess. So there probably are some spaces for activism, for idealism, even today. Uh, have you ever thought about what this could be? I mean, like from your interactions with your kids.
I think unfortunately,
Mm.
a lot of things in Singapore have moved towards the amelioration of bad stuff rather than the prevention. Because because when you try to prevent something, sometimes you need to push the boundaries a lot more. And this is something I think our current government or organizations are not accustomed to. They don't know how to handle it. Yeah. So it's really unfortunate. But I feel that when individuals have a lot of strength, if they want to do something, you should not just block them because the system says so. You should allow them that freedom as long as it's for, I mean, for a common good. Yeah. So,
Yeah. It's because there's a system in place, right? And the system doesn't uproot itself to think of new solutions.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to a young kid today, 6, 7 years old or 10 years old, who has some thoughts about justice? Well, how would you advise this kid?
Well, I would say first, check your heart. Check your heart why you are doing this. And then go do it. Yeah. If you think that the heart is, if your heart is in the right place, then go do it. Yeah. Because I mean, a lot of people say, I'm only one man, what can I do? Yeah, don't even let that be a thought. Just do it, because that is what is required of us as human beings, as as people who are trying to make a change in society. Don't worry about what the other guy is doing. I mean, as long as it doesn't, I want to follow him, I want to follow this. You follow what is right in your heart, in what you see be the right thing. Yeah.
Do they need to have a plan?
Then that becomes the implementation part. Yeah. And of course, the plan helps. In fact,
Yeah.
it's important, especially in today's age. You have to plan. Yeah, you need to plan. I mean, when we did our hunger project back in the 80s, we needed a plan too, even though we were all enthusiastic and so on. But you need to have a plan. You need to work on it. Yeah.
Do they need to think about consequences?
Of course, you need to think of consequences, because some of the consequences can be quite horrific. Yeah, in our society. I don't think people will come and kill you. Or shoot you down in the street, gun you down, or whatever. Yeah, I don't think that will happen. But there are equally tough ways to make you, equally bad ways to make you feel bad. Yeah. So you do need to think about consequences. It's what to yourself, not just to your family, to your loved ones, but also to yourself. But ask yourself, if there's only one thing that you can do, what would you do? Yeah.
Correct. So that to that point, right? Do you need to wait until you retire to do it? That's what a lot of people do, right?
Yeah. That's what a lot of people do, and by the time they will have lost a lot of the advantages and the opportunities that they had in the earlier years. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. You are no longer the same person, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. And now, wow, I tell you, you want to do something, you have taken me half an hour in the early days. Now it takes me almost half a day. Honestly, yeah, it's very tough.
You can
That's
feel
why
the
better.
slowdown.
Yeah, I can see it. You can feel it. Yeah.
But I guess it's still important that seniors like yourself, continue to remain active, right, in their mind, in their body.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's very important. I mean, that's what we are, isn't it? If we are not just a physical correlation of molecules and atoms, we have a mind, and that's what differentiates us from other living things. That's what we think. Maybe for all you know, later down the line, you'll find that other living things also have their own. Yeah.
Yeah, so very pleased, Ho Fang, to have talked, I think, nearly 2 hours about how some Singaporeans during the time that we were becoming from first world, becoming from third world to first, right, very developed country. Some Singaporeans were not just automatons or living creatures, but had an active mind and body, trying to deal with how to improve themselves and how to improve the lot of the people who were needy and poor around them, from the 60s to the 80s. Thank you so much, Ho Fang, for sharing with us.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Hope I wasn't too lost. Yeah.
No, I think you have to be more loso when you start writing your book. So this is good preparation. And you have to find those photos as well, yeah?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Thanks,
Okay,
Ho
thank
Fang. So
you.
I'll be in
Yeah, thanks for
touch
having me.
and let you know when the video is ready.
Okay,
All
thank
right,
you for having me.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Ho Fang.